ለመማር ወደ ትምህርት ተቋም መሄድ ግድ አይደለም። ናሽናል አቪዬሽን ኮሌጅ
ራሳችሁን ከኮሮና ቫይረስ ወረርሽኝ እየጠበቃችሁ በቤታችሁ ወይም በተመቻችሁ ቦታ በኢንተርኔት አማካኝነት በኦንላይን ትምህርታችሁን መከታተል ትችላላችሁ።
ካናዳ ከሚገኘው ኢንተርናሽናል ኤር ትራንስፖርት አሶሲዬሽን አያታና ከእንግሊዙ ኢንስቲትዩት ኦፍ ኮመርሻል ማኔጅመንት ICM ጋር በመተባበር የሚሰጡ ትምህርቶችን ተከታትላችሁ በ6 ወር ጊዜ በዓለም አቀፍ ደረጃ ተቀባይነት ያለውን የስልጠና ማስረጃ ባለቤት መሆን ይቻላል።
ልምድ ባላቸው መምህራን እየተማራችሁ ጥያቄና መልስ የክፍል ስራዎች ፈተና መፈተን ክፍል ውስጥ እንዳላችሁት አይነት በኦንላይን ባላችሁበት ቦታ ከናሽናል አቪዬሽን ኮሌጅ
የናሽናል ኤርዌይስ እህት ኩባንያ
Good afternoon all.
Good afternoon.
Okay.
Good afternoon.
Well, today our discussion point is about the physiographic regions of Ethiopia. As you know, in chapter 2, we have discussed in detail about the geology of the Horn of Africa, including Ethiopia. We have discussed many issues related to these facts, like what geology is. We have tried to define what it is. We have also seen the historical the evolution of the planet Earth in general and the dynamism of the planet. We have also seen how the planet Earth was primarily formed and how it was changed through time from a single landmass right now to nearly 7 fragmented parts. We have also seen the different features that were formed throughout the long history of the planet Earth. If you remember, we have tried to look at the mechanisms of investigating events that were occurred during the long history of the Earth. For instance, geologists use different approaches, a relative approach and absolute approach, for instance, to identify the age of the events. We have also seen the different segments of the age of the Earth, or the geological time scale and associated events, like the Precambrian season and events that took place, the Paleozoic season, and events that were there during that time frame, the Meso or the Middle season, and the 2 days era. Throughout this long history of the Earth, as you remember, the face of the 2 days planet as restructured during the current era, during the recent era. You have to go back and try to identify one era from the other. That's my advice. Related to this fact, Ethiopia, as a part of the planet Earth, is rich in terms of these geologic occurrences. Ethiopia hosts several huge, immense geologic processes. As a result, the face of Ethiopia today is irregular and diverse because of these geologic facts. In connection to the geologic history of the planet, Ethiopia has diverse mineral resource, rock resource, so on and so forth. We've also tried to compare the potential and the actual level of utilization of Ethiopia. We have a rich mineral resource, as you remember, in our discussion so far, but we are not in a position to properly exploit these natural gifts. Probably this might be due to several factors like lack of commitment, absence of or lack of capital, skilled manpower, whatsoever. But what's expected from we young citizens of Ethiopia, like you and me, is nothing but identifying strategies, identifying mechanisms, by considering the existing potential, by considering the existing ample, very huge resource potential, like diverse climate, diverse water resource, like lakes, diverse mineral resource, and so forth. We have to identify strategies that will help us convert this potential into the demand, into the market. Well, today, let's look at the physiographic structure of Ethiopia and the whole in general. Okay, in this chapter, like the chapter 1 and chapter 2, we will have some objectives. At the end of the day, you all are expected to achieve. The first objective we have is nothing but defining new words, new terminologies. Okay. The first thing that we should do is communicating new terminologies. We have to communicate, we have to read, we have to conceptualize new words so that we can easily understand what the whole thematic, the whole agenda, the whole issue is. Okay. The second objective we have is describe the topography of Ethiopia and the whole. What the topography of Ethiopia look like? We have to describe it. Okay. The third objective is identifying the physiographic regions, the physiographic divisions of the country. Okay. Once you know the definitions, the physiographic regions and the variables we use to divide, okay, the physiography of Ethiopia. I mean, once we use, we know the topographic structure, the relief structure, the face of Ethiopia. The next thing is simply identifying the regions. What variables are we using to divide the physiography of Ethiopia into this one, that one, and so on? Okay. We are expected to identify the regions and the variables too. Elucidate or briefly explain the physiographic characteristics of the Rift Valley in particular. If you remembered in chapter 2, we have seen, we have discussed how the Rift Valley was formed, what the features of the Rift Valley region look like. Okay. In this chapter, we will elucidate the whole characteristics of the Rift Valley in detail. The last but not the least objective we have here in this chapter is explaining the impacts of this diverse relief structure, this diverse topographic structure on our daily life. Okay, how, if you remember, Ethiopia is considered as the roof of Eastern Africa, because the majority of Ethiopian landmass is highland with no station. As a result, Ethiopia is considered as mountainous region in the Horn of Africa. How this natural relief structure influence the socio-economic, environmental, cultural, political, so on and so forth conditions of the country. We will look at the impacts of relief. Okay. Having these major objectives in mind, let's look at the introductory part of the chapter. As you all know, Ethiopia has highlands, has lowlands, depressions, valleys, gorges, so on and so forth. As a result, the landform of Ethiopia is characterized by greater diversity. Okay. Ethiopia hosts the highest point, having an altitude of nearly 4,620 meters above sea level. And Ethiopia too extremely hosts the lowest point, the Coppersink. In between the plateaus, plains, gorges, whatever. Okay, the landform you know. This is nothing but the result of the geologic history of our home Ethiopia. The topography of Ethiopia, as we have said several times, however, is determined by the geologic activities of the most recent era, Cenozoic era. ባለፈው እንዳልነው የኢትዮጵያ ያሁን ገጽታ የኢትዮጵያ ያሁን ቅርጽ የሴኖዞይክ ኤራ ውጤት ነው። በሴኖዞይክ ዘመን የተስተዋለ ውስጣዊና ውጫዊ ኃይሎች ድምር ውጤት ነው ያለው ማለት ነው። ኦኬ recent era, recent geologic and geomorphologic process የፈጠረው ቅርጽ ነው ያሁን። But it doesn't mean that the geologic and geomorphologic process of the Paleozoic, Mesozoic, and Precambrian era do not have impacts. That eras too have a very profound impact. But on top of all, the today's geologic activities has a significant impact on the shape and face of structure of Ethiopia. From the diverse relief structures, Ethiopia has flat-topped plateaus, rough or rugged mountains, deep river gorges, okay, vast plains, so on and so forth, as you practically observed it in your daily life. This diversity, as I have said before, even results extreme points like the Coppersink measuring nearly 125 meters below sea level, and okay, the other extreme points, the highest place in Ethiopia, Ras Dashen or Ras Dajen, having an altitude of nearly 4,600 meters. You can imagine. There are, in between, there are relief structures, highlands and lowlands, having diverse altitudinal range or extent. But within this very diverse relief structure, even though Ethiopia hosts diverse relief structure, the majority of the landform, as I have said before, are mountainous, having an altitude of more than 1,000 meters above sea level. You can imagine. Here, more than 50%. There is no precisely identified statistics in this regard, but the majority of the landform, from 1,106,000 square kilometers, you can imagine, more than half of the total area of Ethiopia is mountainous, having an altitude of more than 1,000 meters above sea level. From this, you can easily understand that the majority of Ethiopian landform as mountainous. As a result, we all call Ethiopia as the roof of Eastern Africa, the mountainous part in the Eastern Africa. Because, as I've said before, the largest proportion of the country is covered by mountains, hills, or highlands, having an altitude of that number, more than 1,000. Look, having this in mind, don't forget the characters of highlands. The climate of highland and mountainous relief structure, as you all know, experience relatively cooler temperature. Okay. As altitude increase, ከፍታ ሲጨምር ሙቀት ይቀንሳል ወይስ ይጨምራል? As altitude increase, temperature obviously decrease. Look, this is because Brooke, have you something? ከፍታ ሲጨምር ሙቀት ይቀንሳል ወይስ ይጨምራል? Anyway, as an altitude increase, temperature decrease. Temperature and altitude has inverse relationship. As a result, in mountainous areas of Ethiopia and the world, in any place, in any part of the planet, as altitude increase, temperature decrease. The inverse is also true. As altitude decrease, temperature increase. That's why in almost in all lowland regions, the temperature level is very high. In almost all mountainous regions, all highland regions experience cooler temperature. Because in mountainous and highland areas, don't forget, as altitude increase, high up, particles that can absorb the incoming solar radiation directly from the sun and the re-radiated energy back towards the atmosphere as going to be absorbed by particles that are found on the lower atmosphere. But these particles in highland areas are found in a very sparsely way because of gravitational force. Gravity, has a very huge impact on the distribution of particles too. As a result, highland regions experience very cold temperature because of this natural fact. So, Ethiopia, in almost more than half of its total area, experiences very cool temperature. As a result, many streams, many rivers, and smaller rivers, including bigger rivers like Abai, are originated from these highland areas. As a result, Ethiopia hosts diverse water resources, including rivers, streams, marshy grounds, lakes, so on and so forth. So, because of this natural gift, Ethiopia is also considered as the water source of Eastern Africa, the water tower of Eastern Africa. Most of the Ethiopian highlands are found in the northern and central part of Ethiopia. This is mainly because, as you remembered, during the Mesozoic season, uplifting and folding was hugely occurred in these parts of Ethiopia. As a result, central parts and northern parts of Ethiopia hosts very mountainous landfall, whereas the eastern and southeastern part of Ethiopia tilted during this season because of the internal process, if you remember. That's why the seas and the water was transgraded towards the northern part, beginning in the southeastern section. Well, having this in mind, what makes highlands and lowlands unique? What are the differences between highlands and lowlands? Okay. Highland areas and highland relief structure in general is characterized by number one, it has moderate and high amount of rainfall. Highland regions of Ethiopia, as a result, receives high amount of rainfall because of the reasons I mentioned before. In higher grounds, temperature is very low and rainfall is very high because of the inverse relationship between altitude and particles that can absorb the incoming solar radiation. Highland regions have very low mean annual temperature. Highland regions receive very little amount of temperature because of that fact I said before. The climate is very favorable for life to exist. Okay, because highland regions receive very high amount of rainfall and very moderate and low amount of temperature. This environmental condition, this climatic condition is very suitable for biotic life. As a result, even people prefer this kind of climate. Okay, we people prefer neither extremely high temperature nor extremely low rainfall. People prefer moderate kind of environment, kind of climate. As a result, these regions, highland regions, are found densely populated, even in Ethiopia, because of the attractive, because of the favorable, because of the suitable climatic conditions that the region experiences. As a result, this region are densely populated region in Ethiopia too, because this region is suitable for agricultural activities, for rain-fed agriculture, irrigation agriculture, so on and so forth. What about lowland relief structure? Lowland regions receive very high amount of temperature almost throughout the year. Very high amount of temperature. This high amount of temperature is not as such suitable for the existence of people permanently there. As a result, the region is a sparsely populated region because irrigation agriculture and rain-fed agriculture is not as such suitable, because the region receives very little amount of rainfall. The region receives rainfall, smaller amount of rainfall for a month, for 1, 2 to 3 months. As a result, the amount of water in that region is not as such sufficient for rain-fed agriculture. As a result, people prefer highland regions to permanently settle. Only those group of people who need very broad area, broad space, like rearing animals or keeping animals, so on and so forth, prefer this kind of relief structure. As a result, lowland regions are dominantly occupied by nomadic communities and semi-nomadic communities. In Ethiopia today, the government is trying to address water through artificial way, and by using underground water as an option for this group of people who are found in the lowland parts of Ethiopia. In Ethiopia, 1,000 meters, not only in Ethiopia, but as a geographic standard, 1,000 meters is considered as the line of demarcation as highland and lowland. The relief structure having an altitude of below 1,000 are considered as lowlands. Having an altitude of more than that, approximately, grouped under highlands. In general, the broad geographic extent of Ethiopia. Don't forget how wide Ethiopia is. Ethiopia is the largest country in the whole of Africa, with the total area of 1.1 million square kilometers. Nearly 1,106,000 square kilometers. This very broad geographic extent has three regions: physiographic region, topographic region. These are the Western Highlands and Lowlands, the Eastern Highlands and Lowlands, or Eastern Physiographic region, and the Rift Valley. Don't forget, our variable here to divide Ethiopian physiographic region into three is nothing but the depression that was formed during the Tertiary. The Ethiopian physiographic region, imagine the northern, southern, east to west extent ያለው Ethiopian መልክዓ ምድር you can imagine. Physiographically, the Ethiopian መልክዓ ምድር በሶስት physiographic region ነው የምንከፍለው። Reference poinታችን ምንድነው? Western እና Eastern ስንል Rift Valley, the Great East African Rift Valley, including Ethiopian Rift Valley, as a reference point to call the physiographic region of Ethiopia as westward and eastward. And the Rift Valley region is also the third unit, the third region, or section of the physiography. Don't forget, for the physiographic characteristics of Ethiopia and the relief structure of Ethiopia as a result of internal and external forces. Internal forces, particularly the Cenozoic eras, faulting and folding processes, resulted in today's Ethiopian relief structure. The Western physiographic region, ምንለው ከስምጥ ሸለቆ ምዕራብ አቅጣጫ ያለው የኢትዮጵያ ክፍል በሙሉ, both highlands and lowlands, don't forget. In the western section from the Rift Valley, there are highland regions, there are also lowland regions. These highlands and lowlands that are found westward from the Rift Valley, starting from the northern tip of Ethiopia up to the southern tip, westward from the Rift Valley region, are grouped under this category, the Western Highlands and Lowlands, or the Western Physiographic region in general. This region, covers nearly 44% of the total area of Ethiopia, 44%. With this percentage share from the total area of the country, this region is the largest physiographic region in Ethiopia, the largest, followed by Eastern Physiographic region, and Rift Valley region, respectively. Okay. But these Western Highlands and Lowlands, or the Western Physiographic region, has Highlands and Lowlands. Highland parts of the Western Physiographic region constitutes nearly 76.3% of these 44. ከ44% ጥቅል ኤሪያ ማለት 36.3 ሚሊዮን There are highlands having nearly 76% share, and lowlands that are found in the Western Physiographic region shares nearly 23%, 23.7%. Okay. Western Physiographic region, particularly Western Highlands, are grouped as the Tigray Plateau, the North Central Massif, the Shuar Plateau, the Southwestern Highlands. ከሰሜን እስከ ደቡብ ጫፍ ያለው ከስንት ሸለቆ የምዕራቡ የኢትዮጵያ ክፍል ማለት ነው። ከፍተኛ ቦታዎች ብቻ ስናይ 36.3% የ44% 36% ማለት you can imagine 44% ማለት ደግሞ ኢትዮጵያ 1,106,000 ስኩዌር ኪሎ ሜትር 44% ማለት ምን ያህል ኪሎ ሜትር ነው በአጠቃላይ ፕሪሳይስ የሆነ ነበር ማለት ይችላል። ኢትዮጵያ 1,106,000 ስኩዌር ኪሎ ሜትር ነው ያለው ቶታል ኤሪያ ካለን የዛ ቶታል ኤሪያ 44% ማለት ምን ያህል ኦኬ ያ 100% ከሆነ 44% ነው ያለው ይባል easy mathematics very simple mathematics simple calculation 44% ምን ያህል ስኩዌር ኪሎ ሜትር ነው ፕሪሳይስሊ አይደንቲፋይ ካደረግን የዛ 76% ማለት ምን ማለት ነው that's the highland section of the Western Physiographic region the Tigray North Central Massif the Shuar Plateau and Southwestern Highlands the remaining 23.7% of these 44% are lowlands or lowland physiographic region of Ethiopia. Now let's look at the highland subsections, the highland physiographic subsections of the western section. The first one in this slide is the Tigray Plateau. From this one point that you should consider, you should bear in mind as where each physiographic region is found. Where is the location of each physiographic region? Where? Okay. Location. We have to know the location of the relief structure. Okay. As a citizen, we have to know where the highest mountain is found, where the lowest point is found, where the Tigray Plateau is found, where the Takaze lowland is found. Okay. The major location number one. We have to respond to the question where. So the Tigray Plateau is found as its name implies in today's Tigray region with no hesitation. That is a plateau land that's found there in Tigray's region, extending from Takaze Gorge in the south to central highlands of Eritrea. Okay, in between the Eritrean highlands and Takaze Gorge, that section is fully covered by the Tigray Plateau. From this plateau land, from this highland region, different streams have been steamed, originated, and drain that region, feed that region, supply water to that region. As a result, the region has bigger rivers, smaller rivers, tributaries, so on and so forth, originated from this plateau land, these highland sections of Ethiopia, particularly the western section of Ethiopia. When we look at the size of this highland region, this plateau land region, the Tigray Plateau, it covers nearly 13% of the total area of the region. 13%. What does it mean? From the former slide, from this slide, don't forget the number. 44% ያልኩት ሃይላንዱም ሎውላንዱ ዌስተርን ፊዚዮግራፊክ ሪጅን የሚባለው ከፍተኛ ቦታዎችም ዝቅተኛ ቦታዎችም ጨምሮ ማለት 44% ያለው 76% ያለው ከፍተኛ ቦታዎች ብቻ የትግራይ ፕላቲዮ ኖርዝ ሴንትራል ማሲቭ የጎንደር የጎጃም የወሎ ሸዋ ፕላቲዮ ምንለው ሳውዝ ዌስተርን ሃይላንድስ ምንለው ጥቅል ከፍተኛ ቦታዎች 76.3% የ44 ማለት ሎውላንድ ምንላቸው 23.3% ነው የ44% don't forget ኦኬ ከ76.3% ውስጥ 13% የትግራይ ፕላቲዮ ሃይላንድ ነው The second smallest subsection of the Western Highland is the Tigray Plateau, with this number, 13% total area. In this area, there are highlands having an altitude of diverse number. For instance, there are smaller hills, plateaus, and highest mountains too. Okay. The highest mountains, well-known mountains, grouped under this physiographic region are Mount Summit with this 3,988 meters, Mount Ambalagi with that number, and Mount Asima. These three mountains are the highest mountains, iconic mountains. Okay. That are found in the Tigray mountain plateau. Those of you who are from this region can tell us even more than me. Okay. The second highland region of this geographic region is the North Central Massif. Where is it? Where is the North Central Massif? This region consists of the highland parts that are found in Gondar and Wendo, Goja. Okay, you can imagine how broad this region is. Okay, you can imagine how broad Gondar is, how Wendo, Goja, and so on and so forth. As a result, geographically, the North Central Massif is the largest highland region in the Western geographic division, the largest in terms of total area. Because the geographic extent of Gondar, Wollo, and Gojam are very broad regions, and together results in North Central Massif. This region is the largest region in the Western Highland. From this very broad geographic extent, the highest mountain in Ethiopia is found here. The highest mountain, the highest point. Ras Dashin is part of the North Central Massif. Not only Ras Dashin, other very highest mountains are found in this geographic division. As a result, since this region is the largest region, the climatic condition of this region is relatively cooler. The coldest part of the country is found here in this geographic region because the highest point is part of this region. As a result, different streams, different rivers are found, are stemmed from these highland regions of the country. Okay. Nearly 26 mountains having an altitude of more than 3,000 meters are found in this region. Nearly 26 mountains, you can imagine. Okay. Of these mountains, some of the iconic mountains are like Ras Dashin Mountain, Mount Guna, Mount Abu Yosef, Mount Hana. We can list many more. Okay, these mountains having an altitude of more than 4,000 meters are found in this physiographic region. As a result, bigger rivers in Ethiopia originated from these cooler zones and regions. Don't forget, this region is drained by many rivers, like River Abai, originated from the Gojam Highlands. Not only River Abai, the region is also drained by River Takazi in its northern section. There are also smaller rivers, okay, smaller tributaries, supplying water to these bigger rivers. As a result, the region is suitable for agricultural production and one of the productive highland region of Ethiopia is this one. The third highland region is the Shawan Plateau. Is also called Central Highlands of the country. The Shawan Plateau is also called the Central Highland because, as you all know, this plateau land is found at the center of the country. As a result, the place where we are today, our center, our capital, are these two as grouped under this plateau land. This highland region is bounded by or surrounded by the Rift Valley region, okay, in the eastern direction, the Abai Gorge in the near northern direction, and Omo Gorge in the south and southwest of the Central Highlands. What makes this plateau land unique is it is the smallest highland region from the western section, from the western highland, the smallest, followed by the Tigray Plateau and southwestern highlands. Okay. ቀደም ካልኩት ከ76.3% 11% የሸዋ ፕላቴው 13% የትግራይ ፕላቴው total area ማለት ነው ሳይዝ as a result the Shwa Plateau is the smallest in the western highlands. But even though this plateau land is the smallest in terms of area, the majority of nearly 3/4, nearly more than 75% of this 11% total area is covered by highland areas having an altitude of more than 2,000 meters. As a result, the region is also called the most elevated region in the western highland. ከ11 ምንም እንኳን አነስተኛ ብንለው በስፋት ማለት ነው አብዛኛው 3/4 ገደማ ከከፍታ 2,000 ሜትር በላይ በመሆኑ ኤሌቬትድ የምንለው region ነው. Which mountain is the highest mountain in this region? Which mountain is the symbol of this region? Okay. Highland region ነው ስንል በየዞኑ በየቀጠናው በየሪጅኑ ያሉ ከፍተኛ ቦታ ማን ነው የሚለው መለየት ይችላል. North Central Massif, the highest mountain man ነው ብንል we have to okay identify. ትግራይ ፕላቴው ላይ ያለው ከፍተኛ ቦታ ማን ነው ብንል መለየት ይችላል. In this region, the Central Highlands, the highest mountains are Mount Abu Yemena and Mount Gurag or Gura, with an altitude of 4,000 meters and 3,721 meters respectively. Okay. These mountains are the symbols of the North, Central Highlands or the Shawang Plateau. But there are also other smaller mountains. There are also other mountains having an altitude of below this number, below 4,000 meters.
በትምህርት ከፍ ብሎ መብረር ይቻላል። ናሽናል አቪዬሽን ኮሌጅ የናሽናል ኤርዌይስ እህት ኩባንያ ከከፍተኛ ትምህርት አግባብነትና ጥራት ኤጀንሲ ሙሉ ዕውቅናን ባገኘንባቸው በማስተርስ ዲግሪ ኤምቢኤ በስትራቴጂክ ማኔጅመንት፣ ኤምቢኤ በባንኪንግ እና ፋይናንስ፣ ኤምቢኤ በቢዝነስ ሊደርሺፕ፣ ኤምቢኤ በሪስክና ኢንሹራንስ፣ ኤምኤስሲ በኢንተርናሽናል ትሬድ እና ኢኮኖሚክስ ዘርፎች በእውቀት ለመቅረጽ የበቁ ፕሮፌሰሮቻችን አረንጓዴ መብራታቸውን አብርተዋል። በነገራችን ላይ በኬንያ ሀገር ከሚገኙ ስመጥር ዩኒቨርሲቲዎች በሚመጡ ፕሮፌሰሮች የትኩረት መስክ ትምህርቶቹ መሰጠታቸው ልዩ ያደርገናል። በምርጥ የትምህርት ስርዓት የተገነባው ናሽናል አቪዬሽን ኮሌጅ በመጀመሪያ ዲግሪ በአቪዬሽን ማኔጅመንት፣ በሆቴል ማኔጅመንት፣ በአካውንቲንግ እና ፋይናንስ፣ በማርኬቲንግ ማኔጅመንት አስተማማኝ ትምህርት ይገቢውና ራስዎንና ሀገሮን ይለውጡ። አድራሻ 22 አደባባይ ወደ ሾላ በሚወስደው መንገድ ላይ ናሽናል አቪዬሽን ኮሌጅ የናሽናል ኤርዌይስ እህት ኩባንያ ህልሞን እውን ያደርጋል።
The fourth physiographic, highland region of the Western Physiographic Division as the Southwestern Highlands. Where is it? Which part of Ethiopia are grouped under this category? Is a very important question. Which part of the country? This highland region consists of the highland regions of Walaga, highlands that are found in Babur, highlands of Jima, highland areas of Kafa, highland areas of Gamo, and Gofa zones. Okay. This area are grouped under one box, one category, one region. So the highest highland regions having an altitude of more than 1,000 meters, and that are found in Walaga, in Babura, Jima, Kafa, all the way up to Gamo and Gofa, are grouped under one region and called the Southwestern Highlands. Okay. In terms of total area, Southwestern Highlands is the third smallest highland region in the Western Highlands, with this total share, nearly 23%. Okay. As a result, the region is the third, the second largest region, the second largest, following the North Central Massif. Okay. የትግራይ ፕላቲዮ 13% ገደማ በስፋት የሴንትራል ሃይላንድ 11%, this one 22.7%, from 76% North Central Massif proportion can calculate for nearly 42% or 48% ገደማ North Central Massif. Which mountain is the symbol of this region is a very important question. Which mountain? Mount Guji as the symbol of Southwestern Highland, okay, with an altitude of more than 4,000 meters above sea. Look, even though the region has many highest mountains like the North Central Massif, many parts of the region is covered by mountains or highlands having an altitude of more than 2,000 meters. As a result, nearly 70% of the area has an altitude of more than 1,000 meters. Nearly 70%, you can imagine. From this very broad geographic extent and higher grounds, you can imagine the climatic condition of the region, which is very cold. The region receives rainfall almost throughout the year in Ethiopia, almost. Nearly for about 7 to 9 months, the region receives rainfall because of the relief structure it has. As a result, many rivers are originated from these higher grounds, highland areas of the country. As a result, the region is drained by many rivers. The region has tributaries, has streams, marshy grounds, so on and so forth, that can supply flood to bigger rivers. Which river drains the region is a very important question. River Dedesa, as you all know, River Baro, River Davos. These are some of the major rivers originated from these higher grounds, and with the help of tributaries or smaller rivers, these rivers are major rivers that supply water, that feed water, that drain the region. As a result, the region is the wettest region in Ethiopia, wettest, and the productive region in Ethiopia because of the climatic conditions of the country. Well, the Western Physiographic region has not only higher grounds, it has also lowlands, having an altitude of below 1,000 meters. Don't forget, from the northern tip of Ethiopia up to its southern section, there are parts of the country having an altitude of within this range, below 1,000 meters. Okay, all western parts of the country, having an altitude of this one below 1,000 meters under western lowlands. These lowland regions, from the nearly 23% total area, 11% of the area, nearly lowland regions constitute 11% of the Western Physiographic region, nearly 11, don't forget. Okay. Which lowland region are found is Western Physiographic division is a very important question. Which section? Which lowland region? Okay, there are 4 lowland regions. Okay, Western lowlands have 4 subdivisions, like Western Highlands. Okay, which lowlands are grouped under this category? Western lowlands. Takaze lowland, Abaidinder lowland, Baro lowland, and Give lowlands are found in this physiographic division, Western Physiographic division. Look, don't forget the unique characteristics of lowlands. Don't forget. It has extremely high temperature, extremely low rainfall, so on and so forth. Don't forget, as a result, the characteristics of each lowland region. Takaze, Abaidinder or Abaigo, Baro, so on and so forth. Since the region is not as such suitable for rainfed agriculture, these regions are occupied by pastoralists and semi-pastoralist economic activities. Okay. Nomadic economic activities common in this section because of lack of rainfall for agriculture. This kind of relief structure, lowlands, receive smaller amount of rainfall throughout the year. As a result, there is no well-developed rivers, matured rivers, okay, crossing this part of the country. Fortunately, only barren lowland receives and crossed by rivers stemmed from the western highlands. Okay, only barren lowlands. As a result, barren lowland is suitable, relatively suitable for agriculture as compared to other lowland regions of the country. But even though the region lacks water, lacks rivers, these western lowlands are suitable for different economic activities. Even these lowland regions support the economy of Ethiopia hugely. Okay. Don't forget the lowland, where Umara is part of, Matama is part of. Don't forget Gambella, okay, where our probably number 2 exportable product as, okay, originated from Sisa, the most productive lowland region of Ethiopia. Okay. ስለዚህ ዌስተርን ፊዚዮግራፊክ ሪጅን የምንለው ከስምጥ ሸለቆ ምዕራባዊ አቅጣጫ ላይ የሚገኝ የኢትዮጵያ መልካም ከፍተኛም ዝቅተኛም ቦታ ከፍተኛ ቦታ ያላቸው በሎኬሽን የት ነው ጂኦግራፊክ ኤክስተንት ኦር ሳይዝ የት ነው ሰብ ዲቪዥንስ ምንድነው የሚመስለው ሃይስት ማውንቴን ማን ነው ኢኮኖሚክ ካራክተሪስቲክስ ምንድነው የሚመስለው ማለት ከፍተኛ ቦታዎች የውሃ አቅርቦቱ የአየር ንብረቱን ኦብቪየስሊ እናውቃለን ቀዝቃዛማ አካባቢዎች ናቸው ቀዝቃዛማ አካባቢዎች ማለት ሪቨርስ ስትሪምስ ሶ ኦን ሶ ፎርስ የቶች ናቸው ያሉት for what kind of economic activity this region is suitable for so on and so forth እነኚህን አይደንቲፋይ ማድረግ በቂ ነው what about lowland regions western physiographic region ላይ ያለ ዝቅተኛ ቦታ ማለት ነው የት ነው ዝቅተኛ ቦታዎች ዩኒክ ፊቸራቸው ነው ካራክተሪስቲክሳቸው that's all the second physiographic region in Ethiopia is the eastern physiographic region or eastern highlands and lowlands where is it number 1 where is the location of eastern physiographic region what about the shape or the size of this physiographic region the size what about the characteristics in terms of highland which highest mountains are found where which lowland regions are found in which part of this physiographic region so on and so forth this physiographic region is the second largest in terms of total area following what the western highlands and lowlands with the total share of nearly 37% from the total area of Ethiopia. ቀደም የዌስተርን ፊዚዮግራፊክ ሪጅን 44% ብለናል የኢትዮጵያን 44% ሳውዝ ኢስተርን ኦር ኢስተርን ፊዚዮግራፊክ ሪጅን ደግሞ የኢትዮጵያ 37% ቀሪውን መገመት ፋብሪክ ማድረግ ነው የሌፍት ቫሊ ቀጠና ነው ማለት okay from this 37% unlike the western highland and lowland regions the majority of this 37% is covered by highlands I mean lowlands okay ምስራቁ ከስምጥ ሸለቆ ምስራቁ የኢትዮጵያ ክፍል አብዛኛው ዝቅተኛ ቦታ ነው lowland ነው desert and semi desert ኦኬ ስለዚህ ዋልሸበሌ lowland ያለው በዚህ ይቀበላል ኦኬ so ከ37% አብዛኛው 54% የ37% 54% ዝቅተኛ ቦታ ነው ወይም ሎውላንድ ነው። ይሄ 37% ምንለው ከኢትዮጵያ 1,106,000 ስኩዌር ኪሎ ሜትር ውስጥ 37% ማለት ነው። ከዛ x number of x ስኩዌር ኪሎ ሜትር ቶታል ኤሪያ ከ37% ማለት ነው። 54% ደግሞ ዝቅተኛ ቦታ ወይም ሎውላንድ ምንለው ነው። the remaining 46% ሃይላንድ ነው። ሃይላንድ ምንለው ከ1000 ሜትር በላይ ከፍታ ያለው ነው። Where is it geographically? It's found eastward from the Rift Valley region, as its name implies. Eastward. ከስንት ሸለቆ east and southeastern section ምንለው የዚህ physiographic region አካል ነው። Well, the eastern highlands and lowlands have two sections, highland section and lowland section. Highland sections like RC Valley, Sidama Highlands, Haragi Highlands, and Plateau Lands. And there are also lowland sections like Wabishevili Plain or Wabishevili Lowland and Ganale Lowlands. Okay. RC Valley, Sidama Highland, ምንድነው የሚመስለው? Haragi Highland ምንድነው የሚመስለው? Wabishevili Lowland ምንድነው የሚመስለው? Characters, climate, in terms of climatic condition, in terms of relief structure, which highest parts are found where? Economic activity would be Muslim, identify matrix is very crucial. The RC, Bale, Sidama Highlands are found in today's RC and today's Bale and Sidama zones and regions, as their name clearly reflects where it is. These highland regions make up nearly 29% of the total area of the region. Out of what? 46% ከፍተኛ ቦታ ማለት ነው። 46% አርሲ ባሌ ሲዳማ እና ሐረርጌ ሃይላንድ አይደለም። እነኚህ ሃይላንድ ኤሪያስ 46% የምስራቅ ቀጠና ወይም የ37% proportion share ያደርጋል። Out of these nearly 29% total area is grouped under RC Valley and Sidama Highlands. Well, this region is made up of ups and downs because of the external forces like wind, because of the influence of external agents like rain, wind, flood, so on and so forth. The higher grounds or highland regions that are found here, like highland regions that are found in other parts of Ethiopia, experience ups and downs and irregularities. As a result, the RC highlands are also made up of the flat, rolling uplands and dissected mountains as well. Which mountain is well known and the symbol of this region? Which mountain is the icon of this region? Which mountain represents the RC, Bale, and Sidama Highlands? Is a very important question. Like the mountains that represented the Tigray Plateau, the North Central Massif, the Shoa Plateau, the Western Highlands. Which mountain are found in this region? The RC, Bale, and Sidama Highlands. We have to identify the mountains. At least we will know mountains. Mount Kaka, Mount Chilolo, and Mount Barda. With this number, altitudinal extent, the RC Bale, Sidama Highlands are the symbols, icons of the well-known. These one are found here in this region. Don't forget, RC and Bale are suitable parts of the country, especially for the production of different agricultural activities like grain, Okay, because the environmental condition, the climate is very suitable for this kind of agricultural products. Okay, which mountains are found particularly in RC? Which mountains are found particularly in Bali? And also another very significant question that you have to look into. Apart from this, the prominent feature of the Sidama Highland, the well-known feature is the Jemjem Plateau, which is an important and well-known supply of coffee for us, where our economies relies on, dependent on. Okay. Since many highland region parts, since many mountains are found in this region, many rivers are also originated from, stem from these highland parts of the country, like the river Wabishevele, Gennale, and smaller tributaries supplying water to it, okay, are originated from these highland regions. Apart from this, the region is well known by the geologic event that was formed during the Mesozoic and Cenozoic, particularly the first Cenozoic faults, soft Omar came as a symbol of this region too, where many tourists are interested to visit, okay, including international tourists. The other subgroups of the Eastern Highlands as the Hararghe Plateau, where it is. Okay. How wide this highland region is in terms of total area. Okay. It covers nearly 38% of the total area of the region, and relatively the smallest proportion of upper highlands are found in this region, the smallest relatively. Okay. Whereas the largest proportion is found in the RC, Bali, and Sidama Highlands. Okay. Even though the smallest proportion of upper highlands are found in this region, the region hosts the highest mountain too, like other regions. Mount Garamulata, with this total altitude is found in this region, the Hararghe Plateau. As well, this region too is very suitable for the production of different agricultural products. Okay. Apart from the highland regions, in addition to highland regions, in the eastern section from the Rift Valley, lowland regions are also found. There are also lowlands. As I have said before, the relief structure is grouped as highland and lowland based on an altitude that they measured. The part of Ethiopia in this section, okay, eastward from the Rift Valley, measuring below 1,000 meters, are also found here in this region. Of the lowlands, which one are found in this region is a very important question. Wabishevele and Gennale plains are lowland regions of the eastern section. If you remember, the western lowlands, which one? If you remember, which lowland regions are found in the western section of the country? The lowland? Mirror?
Wabishevele.
In the western physiographic region, which lowland regions are found? In the western. Wabishevele and Gennale are eastern physiographic regions, part of eastern physiographic regions. lowlands of eastern physiographic regions. Yes? No. Whereas in the western physiographic region, which lowland region are found?
Lowland.
Thank you very much. What else?
Baro.
Apai.
Abai.
Apai.
Baro.
Gibe.
Takaze. Gibe. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. ጊቤ የምዕራባዊ ዝቅተኛ ቦታ ነው። የምስራቁን ክፍል ዝቅተኛ ቦታዎች አሉት። እነኚህ የዋቢ ሸበሌ ዝቅተኛ ቦታ፣ በረሃማ አካባቢ፣ ገናሌ፣ ሎላንድ ሪጅን፣ ደዘርቲ ኤንድ ሰሚ ደዘርት ሪጅንስ፣ ምስራቁ የኢትዮጵያ ክፍል ቅድም ያልኩት ከ1000 ሜትር በታች ከፍተኛ ሙቀት የሚስተናገድበት ስፓርስሊ ፖፑሌትድ የሆነ የኢትዮጵያ ክፍል ይኸው ክፍል ነው። ዋቢ ሸበሌ ገናሌ from the lowland regions, don't forget ዋቢ ሸበሌ ከፍተኛው lowland region ነው ዋቢ ሸበሌ። ኦኬ የዚህ 60% አብዛኛው ዋቢ ሸበሌ ፕሌን whereas the remaining 40% ገናሌ ነው። 40% እና 60% ምንለው don't forget please። ቀድም ያልኩት ምስራቁ የኢትዮጵያ መልክዓ ምድር ያልኩት ከሬፍት ቫሊ ምስራቃዊ አቅጣጫ የስልጥ ሸለቆ ቀጠና ያልሆነው 37% ነው ብያቸዋለሁ። 37% ማለት የኢትዮጵያ ከ1 ሚሊዮን 106,000 ስኩዌር ኪሎ ሜትር ውስጥ 37% ማለት ምን ማለት ስንት ነው? ከዛ ስኩዌር ኪሎ ሜትር ውስጥ ከ37% ያልነው 54% ዝቅተኛ ቦታ ነው ያለው። ከዝቅተኛ ቦታዎች ውስጥ the largest lowland region ዋቢ ሸበሌ ነው 60% and ገናሌ play 40%. Don't forget. This playing ground, this lowland regions encompasses the lowland regions of Ogaden, Elkare, Borana, where nomadic people, nomadic community are found in Ethiopia. This region lacks water with no hesitation because the region receives smaller amount of rainfall throughout the year or no rainfall totally. As a result, the region is drought-prone region. Usually, drought occur in this region because of absence of rainfall, because of shortage of groundwater, and even underground water. Okay. As a result, the region is susceptible to shortage of food, water for people. It is those sparsely populated people are found in this region. But today, the government is trying to support these communities by just developing underground water, and the people are trying to produce at least agricultural products, okay, irrigation-based agricultural products. Well, the region is sparsely inhabited, as I have said before, because this region is not attractive region for permanent settlement. As a result, only smaller number of people prefer these areas. Those people who need space, wide space, prefer these areas. Those people who sustain their life by keeping animals, by rearing animals, prefer these areas. As a result, the region is sparsely populated. Okay. The well-known and common economic activity is simply nomadic type of economic activity. Whereas irrigation agriculture, rainfed agriculture is not common in these regions because of absence of, or it's possible to say lack of groundwater. But in Ethiopia, these regions are full of natural resources like petroleum and natural gas. There are these potentials. Petroleum is potentially available in this region. Natural gas is available in this region, but we are not using, we are not developing, we are not in line with, or we are not in a position to develop, to exploit, or utilize this natural resource. Residents are traditionally following their life by traditional approach. Well, the third physiographic division is the Rift Valley region, which is the smallest geographic extent. Please let me stop here for today. We will discuss this issue in the upcoming period. Can I stop here? Guys, let me stop here for today. Next, we will look at the Rift Valley region, the characteristics of the Rift Valley, the location of the Rift Valley, and some regions of the Rift Valley. Okay, Rift Valley. Don't forget the historical formation, the geologic processes of the Rift Valley formation, and the total areas from the northern part, from the Afar Triangle up to Chao Bahar. You can imagine how long it is. We look at the Rift Valley region in general, the Afar Triangle in particular, the central Rift Valley regions, the lake regions. We will also discuss the southern tips of the rift, the Chao Bahar region. Next. Thank you very much for today.
Thank you.
I wish you good evening and good night.
ልዩነት መፍጠር ዓላማችን ነው። ዓለም አቀፍ ተወዳዳሪ መሆን አለባችሁ። የናሽናል ኤርዌይስ እህት ኩባንያ ናሽናል አቪዬሽን ኮሌጅ ጥራትና ደረጃውን የጠበቀ ስልጠና በመስጠት ብቁ ዜጋ እያፈራን ነው። በፍላይት ኦፕሬሽን፣ በበረራ መስተንግዶ፣ በቲኬቲንግና ሪዘርቬሽን፣ በሆቴልና ቱሪዝም ሙያዎች አሰልጥነን ተወዳዳሪ እናደርጎታለን። ኮሌጃችን ካናዳ ከሚገኘው ኢንተርናሽናል ኤር ትራንስፖርት አሶሲዬሽን አያታና ከእንግሊዙ ICM ጋር በመተባበር ዓለም አቀፍ ዕውቅና ያለው ስልጠና እየሰጠ ይገኛል። በፍላይት ኦፕሬሽን፣ በበረራ መስተንግዶ የምንሰጣቸው ስልጠና ከኢትዮጵያ ሲቪል አቪዬሽን ባለስልጣን ሙሉ ዕውቅና አለው። አድራሻ ከጎላጉል ታወር 22 አደባባይ ወደ ሾላ በሚወስደው መንገድ ላይ የናሽናል ኤርዌይስ እህት ኩባንያ ናሽናል አቪዬሽን ኮሌጅ ህልሞን እውን ያደርጋል።